I've done some horrible things, but I've also done some great things. You know, I like to say that I live by God.
Do you live by God?
I like to say I do.
And how would you make up for those mistakes?
I think you just gotta ask. I think, me personally, what I believe God is the most gracious, the most merciful. I think He's the most forgiving entity out there. You know.
And did you grow up Muslim?
I did grow up Muslim. I started recently going back to the mosques, just because I felt like I needed to really get more in touch with it. But I kind of strayed away. I respect that for you. What I never understood is how there could be all one God that is also
Three persons?
Yeah.
Like
and
the Trinity?
And then one was born from a woman, from a natural. That's what I don't understand.
Do you think God is all powerful?
I do.
Do you think it's possible that God could exist as a human on the earth if He chose to?
God is all powerful. How can it be something that isn't?
Well,
all powerful?
if He's all powerful, can He choose not as spiritual value?
Which is better than monetary value.
That's true. That's true. Comes with $1 million question. If you were to die today,
Yes, sir.
where would you be for eternity?
I don't know. I've done some horrible things, but I've also done some great things. You know, I like to say that I live by God.
Do you live by God?
I like to say I do. I try to follow closely. You know, obviously I'm human. I stray away every once in a while. But that's the real question is, who knows? Who can tell?
Well, God can tell us. So you believe in God?
I do believe in God. Only God.
And what do you think it takes to be right with Him? Like, what do you think it would take for someone to go to heaven, not go to hell?
I think it is a commitment to God, and the ability to just really live your life through Him. You know, obviously we're gonna all make mistakes. We're all, you know, do our due diligence, but you know, to live by God and to give yourself up to God, I think that is what is gonna get you with Him at the end of the day.
Live by God and give yourself to God. And how would you make up for those mistakes?
I think you just gotta ask. I think, me personally, what I believe God is the most gracious, the most merciful. I think He's the most forgiving entity out there. You know.
And did you grow up Muslim?
I did grow up Muslim.
Gotcha. Where are you from?
I'm from here. Yes,
Okay, gotcha.
my father is Muslim.
Your father's Muslim? Where is he from?
He's from California.
From California. Okay, gotcha.
And my grandparents are from Africa.
From Africa. Okay. What country in Africa?
Geez Louise, man. There's some in the Mali region or something like that. I don't speak with them as much anymore. They
Gotcha.
both passed away a long time ago.
Oh, okay. And did you grow up going to mosque every week or?
Not as much.
Not as much?
I started recently going back to the mosques, just because I felt like I needed to really get more in touch with it. But I kind of strayed away. Because like I said, you know, my grandparents, once they passed away, my father kind of left it behind a little bit. He went through a little bit of a tough time. But yeah, you guys are teaching the beliefs of Jesus Christ, and you know, I love that. Because, you know, we believe in Jesus as well, obviously.
Well, you believe in a Jesus, but it's actually different than the Jesus of the Bible. Did you know that?
Well, you believe what Jesus is God?
That Jesus is God.
I can see that. I respect that for you. What I never understood is how there could be all one God that is also
Three persons?
Yeah.
Like the Trinity?
And then one was born from a woman, from a natural. That's why I don't understand.
Yeah, so we don't believe that Jesus began to exist
Yeah.
when He was born of Mary. We believe that the incarnate Jesus began to exist when He was born of Mary. So it's not that, well, he existed before that, but the incarnation didn't occur until Mary.
Okay.
Which in Islam also believe that Jesus was born of a virgin, but Miriam, or Mary, you know, just a different name, or same name really, and that He lived without sin. And so the question becomes, how could man live without sin unless he was God? Because every other man has sinned. Even Muhammad on his deathbed, they asked him, you know, will you go to heaven? And he said, only Allah knows. He couldn't say, because everyone has sinned. But Jesus lived without sin, never sinned. And even though He never sinned, He went to the cross and died. He took the punishment that we deserve for our sins. You were talking earlier, like, your hope in heaven, you know you've done some good things, but you also know you've done some bad things. Well, with Christianity, with Jesus pays the price for all the bad that you've done. He takes the punishment for you so that you can be forgiven and made right with God. Now, God existing as 3-in-1 Trinity, that He's three persons, but one being, is part of His nature. And for us as finite beings, it can be a little hard to understand the infinite, because God is infinite. But I would say this, in Islam, God is transcendent. right? He created this whole, he created this whole world and all that. Well, in Christianity, God is transcendent, but he's also immanent. He's also present. It's by him that this whole world sustains, that he's the one that is maintaining it, keeping it, that God is everywhere and also beyond the everywhere at the same time, because God isn't limiting. Do you think God is all powerful?
I do.
Do you think it's possible that God could exist as a human on the earth if he chose to?
I don't believe so, because I feel like that's counterintuitive. I feel like if God is all powerful, how can it be something that isn't?
Well,
all powerful?
If he's all powerful, can he choose not to exercise his power? Can he choose to exist in a limited state? Can he empty himself of his divinity and exist amongst us? If he's all powerful, wouldn't he have the power to do that?
I suppose he can, yes, sir.
And so that's what Christianity is claiming. It's claiming that mankind, it began with Adam in the garden, Adam and Eve in the garden. They sinned and fell from man, and we've all inherited that sin nature, and we've all sinned since then. But Jesus, who was fully man, was able to pay the price for our sins. I believe God is merciful, but I also believe he's just. And a loving God has to be a just God. He can't just turn a blind eye to sin. He has to judge sin. But that judgment was dealt with by Jesus on the cross. Have you ever read the Injil?
I'm sorry?
Have you ever read the Injil?
What do you...
The Injil is what the Muslims refer to the New Testament as.
No. I've read a little bit of the Bible, just Bible here and there. Just because I like to learn.
Mm-hmm.
But I prefer the Quran more, because I feel like the Bible has too many iterations. I feel like if there's a book with the teaching of Christ, it should have just one. It should just be one book.
You mean the fact that the Bible is in different languages and stuff like that?
Different languages, different translations. There's the New Testament, the Old Testament.
Well, the separation from the New Testament and the Old Testament is that the Old Testament, one, part of its history, part of it's also specific laws given to the Jewish people for a specific period of time, and it's prophesying of what would happen with Jesus in the New Testament. So the Bible is comprised of 66 different books written by 40 different authors over 1,000 years. But it all points to one person. It all points to Jesus. Or the Quran would say Isa. It all points to Jesus, the one who died for us. And so even the Quran, I believe, says you should read the Injil. And so I would... What was your name?
Trey.
Trey? I would encourage you, Trey.
Yes, sir.
This is the Gospel of John.
Gotcha.
It's one book in the Bible. It talks about Jesus' life here on earth, what he says about himself, and who he was and what he did.
I'll take a look at this. What was your name?
Andrew.
Andrew.
Nice to meet you, Trey.
Yes, sir.
And I would encourage you to read that and see what God would speak to you, because the truth is, our actions can never save us.
You guys here often?
Yeah, frequently. We don't have a regular schedule, but we are here frequently.
I'll read this next time I see you.
And
I
talk.
would love to
Yeah, I would love that too.
It was wonderful talking.
Nice to meet you, Trey.
Yes,
But yeah, I would encourage you to read that and see what God would speak directly to you about himself.
Thank you.
Take care, Trey.